Yes, it's Charlie Danger, private detective. Charlie Danger, defender of the Constitution. And now, Charlie Danger, private detective.
There's eyes and ears everywhere,
said Jane to Charlie Chin as they walked along the sidewalks of any town. Lassie followed close behind. Confirmation that entire population under intense surveillance. Most certain to be observing our every move.
The dog's right. Maybe we ought to split up.
Most unnecessary. He stopped and motioned at the storefront before them. Jane noted the sign above the entrance that read, Murphy's Theatrical Supply Emporium. Suggest, please, that solution to problem awaiting inside most convenient establishment, said Chin with a smile. I'd spent the last couple of hours laying low, keeping out of sight, hiding in alleys and behind dumpsters, dodging the locals and the street cameras, making like a GI behind enemy lines. It was a regular pain in the ass. I made my way through town and into what appeared to be a residential area. I wound up in the backyard of a quaint little cottage with a white picket fence and plenty of hedges and shrubbery that concealed my stealthy advance to the front porch. I sprang from the bushes and up the steps and knocked on the front door. To my surprise, the force of my knocking caused the door, which had been left ajar, to swing open. I stepped inside. I was standing in a living room staring at a plush recliner situated directly in front of one of them big screen television sets. And slouched upon that recliner was a corpse. A cooler beside the chair held a six-pack in warm water, and a bowl of stale popcorn sat on a table nearby. The top of the guy's head was missing. His eyes were popped out, and gray matter had dripped from his ears as if something he'd seen on TV had caused his head to explode. I was about to inspect the TV set when I heard a hissing and beeping, and a garbage truck pulled up at the edge of the driveway. 2 sanitary collection engineers got out and started walking towards the house. I ducked behind the curtains as the front door flew open and the 2 men entered the room.
This'll make the 5th one this month. Here, you bag him up, and I'll scrub his brains off the wall.
I don't think so, Vern. I bagged the last guy.
Vernon Blurgeon didn't like that.
Look, Ernest, I'm the crew chief, and you're only the helper, so you do what I tell you to do and like it, okay?
I don't see how either one of us should be doing this crummy job in the first place. I heard they're taking applications for television testers down at the research lab.
Vernon shook his head in disgust.
You sure are stupid, Ernest. What do you think this sorry asshole was doing when he met his end?
Ernest looked apprehensively at the big TV set.
You mean this here guy was testing out one of them there experimental TV sets?
I didn't say that, Ernest. Let's just say I'd rather clean up the mess than to be the source of one, you know what I mean?
You must really think I'm dumb. Do you expect me to believe that watching TV can do that much damage to somebody's head? I don't think so.
I don't expect nothing, and I don't ask them kind of questions, Ernest. Now, let's just do our job and get the hell out of here like we're supposed to, okay?
Within 20 minutes, the place was cleaned up, the body was in the bag, and Ernest and Vernon were carrying it out to the garbage truck. As the truck drove off, I emerged from behind the curtain. A quick examination of the TV set revealed a label on the back of it that read, Experimental Prototype. I also found a 238-page owner's manual entitled, How to Operate Your New Supervision. According to the owner's manual, it could be remotely controlled, and it could make your brains boil out of your ears. Too bad the dead guy hadn't read it before he sat down to watch the damn thing. As fate would have it, I had inadvertently stumbled onto one of Totenkopf's secret weapon projects. A television that was programmed to make your head explode. It was nothing less than diabolical. The son of had to be stopped. Somehow I had to get back and inform the others. As I turned towards the front door, the television came to life, and an eerie voice called out to me.
I see that you can appreciate the significance of the micro-telebotomizer, Mr. Danger.
I turned around to see a big screen digital high-definition image of a beautiful dame looking at me with an evil, wicked grin on her face.
I see you do not recognize me, you stupid fool! I am quite aware of the movements of yourself and your friends in my tranquil little community.
Totenkopf?
I will deal with you all in due course. I guarantee you will not leave this place alive.
You can give it your best shot, baby, and if you think I'm gonna let you and your globalist pals roll right over the American people, you're gonna find yourself sadly mistaken. In a flash, my .38 was in my hand and spitting lead kisses all over the giant television screen. The beautiful dame vanished as sparks, smoke, and flame issued forth from the shattered machine. I made a mad dash through the front door and down the steps right before the entire house exploded. Fire and burning debris went everywhere. I hurriedly made my way through the shrubbery and along the fence to the rear gate, thankful to have escaped death in the raging inferno. Things were getting real interesting, real fast. Life during the economic slowdown had been tough for Jaime Lipschitz. That was until he went to work for his uncle, Dr. Heinrich von Totenkopf. Besides getting used to the fact that his uncle had transformed himself into a sexy dame, the foremost thing on Jaime's mind was how to effectively market his uncle's new television sets. If he failed, he was pretty sure that Totenkopf would have him killed.
The micro-telebotomizer will be manufactured in the People's Republic of China,
Totenkopf had said.
I am placing you in charge of promoting the mass distribution of these units to the public.
With unlimited funding from the Rockefeller Foundation and utilizing Totenkopf's own mind control research data and the latest brainwashing techniques, Jaime was to organize a gigantic promotional blitz throughout the entire mainstream commercial media. By the time the first shipments arrived from communist China, everybody and his uncle were expected to want one. Young and old, rich and poor, men and women, boys and girls. If they could count to 10 and walked on 2 feet, it would be up to Jaime to see that they wanted one. It was to be the hottest thing since the invention of the wheel, or electricity, or sliced bread. But Jaime Lipschitz was no fool. He knew just enough about electronics to figure out that the microtelebotomizer could spy on every aspect of your life, turn you into a mindless zombie, or simply cause your brains to boil and blow out the top of your head. Therein lay his dilemma. Should he commit himself as chief pusher of the evil machines on an unsuspecting populace? Or should he somehow seek escape? The thought of getting as far away as possible from his wife and his insane relatives brought a smile to Jaime's face. Since his uncle hated his guts anyway and would eventually find some excuse for having him killed, and since his wife only served to keep him in lifelong misery and debt, it really came down to only one solution. Jaime Lipschitz turned up missing. George Burns and Gracie Allen made their way along the sidewalks of any town. Actually, it was Charlie Chin and Jane, disguised as Burns and Allen. And what, you may well ask, had become of Lassie? An exceptionally alert observer might take notice of the folded umbrella carried by Gracie Allen. Who would ever guess that Lassie was tucked inside, within its folds? Jane had a knack for that sort of thing. George stopped on the street corner. He proceeded to light up his trademark cigar. You may be wondering why Gracie and I have been inserted into the plot at this point, and I don't blame you for being concerned. Personally, I'm not too crazy about the dog in the umbrella thing, but that's just me.
Don't be silly, George. If I can keep a bazooka in my purse, then I should certainly be able to keep a dog in my umbrella.
Now, never mind that now, Gracie. What do you do with the disguises we bought for Phleye and Danger?
Why, I put them in my purse, of course.
With the bazooka and the machine gun?
Don't forget the rocket launcher, George.
Oh, yes, let's not forget that. Tell me, Gracie, what do you have inside that purse?
Well, George, I'm glad you asked me that. You know how the Boy Scouts motto is always be prepared?
Yes, I've heard that before. Say, you don't have a Boy Scout in there, do you?
Of course not, George. This is a purse. It's nothing more than an ingenious vehicle for getting us out of a tough jam when the writer can't come up with some other way.
I can see where that would come in handy.
Really, George, when you stop and think about it, there's nothing unusual about the dog being in the umbrella.
Forget about the dog for now, Gracie. The whole point of the matter is that the guy who's writing this story wants to continue to introduce outrageous disguises, even though he's killed off Shurelock Homes.
That's not true, George. I always lock the door when we go out.
No, Gracie. The author was simply playing on Sherlock Holmes's reputation as a master of disguise. The theatrical supply emporium is simply another way to continue to introduce crazy disguises into the plot.
Well, I'm all for that. I think the author should do whatever it takes in order to keep the storyline from falling flat on its face.
I have to agree with you there, Gracie. And just to show that my heart's in the right place, I'm ready to do whatever it takes to help the plot along. So, how about if I do my own little rendition of Down the Lazy River?
I don't think so, George.
Down the lazy river.
I don't think so, George. The dog's right.
Well, how do you like that? All of a sudden, the dog is a music critic. Now, Gracie, what do you say we get a move on before we're late for our rendezvous with Phleye and Danger?
Our rendezvous view what, George?
Rendezvous, Gracie. It's French. It's a French word that means secret meeting place.
Don't be silly, George. That would be far too confusing. We should meet in English like we always do.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
You would think that a house blowing up would attract the attention of the whole town, but the people of any town didn't show the slightest bit of interest. They just went about their merry way as if everything was fine and dandy. I made my way back to the vacant parking lot on the outskirts of town. With nowhere else to conceal myself, I hid inside a rusting garbage dumpster in the corner of the lot. There was a door in the side of it through which I kept a sharp lookout for the others. It was hot, and the dumpster stank. There was nowhere to sit down, and there was crap all over my shoes. I found myself wondering just what the hell I was doing in this predicament. That's when I heard footsteps approaching, and someone began knocking on the side of the dumpster.
Danger! Are you in there? It's me, Phleye.
Quiet down. Come on in here. There was a pause, and then he said,
If it's all right with you, I think I'll just stand here and look inconspicuous.
Sure thing, Phleye. You just stand there casually talking to a garbage dumpster, okay? How inconspicuous is that? There was another pause.
I guess I see your point. All right, I'm coming in.
He started climbing in through the side door, but slipped and fell on his ass in the muck on the floor.
Dagnabbit, what is this crap?
Hey, clam down, will you? Are you looking to attract attention?
But it smells like crap in here.
I never said this line of work was a piece of cake. We spent the next 2 hours sweating from the heat and choking from the smell inside of that garbage dumpster. Still, there was no sign of Chin and Jane and Lassie. I thought it strange that they would be so late, and I worried that something might have happened to them. I found it odd that two people looking very much like George Burns and Gracie Allen had wandered into the area. They'd been loitering around in the parking lot for over an hour. These two would undoubtedly be in the way when Chin and Jane showed up. Phleye and I were trying to figure out how to get rid of them. And then, all of a sudden, one of them turned and started heading straight for the garbage dumpster. It was the woman.
Charlie Danger, are you in there?
She sounded a lot like Jane.
Damn it, Charlie. Do you know how long me and Chin have been standing out here in the parking lot?
Before I could answer, I watched in amazement as Gracie's umbrella began leaking a yellow liquid that pooled around her feet.
Oh, damn! This is all your fault, Charlie.
I looked at her in bewilderment. How am I supposed to know you're in disguise?
Never mind, Charlie. Is Phleye in there with you?
Phlye's right here.
Both of you put on these disguises and come out of that smelly dumpster.
I missed you too, baby.
Hurry up, Charlie. I think we're in it deep this time.
I think you're right, baby. Five or 10 minutes later, Willie Phleye as Gomer Pyle, and myself as fat just before he died Elvis, climbed out of the dumpster to join Burns and Allen. Gracie ran into my arms.
I was worried about you.
She kissed me. It was deep, passionate, all hot and wet. I looked into her big blue peepers. Elvis was your idea, wasn't it? Tell us what you found in town, George. Gracie and I found a town full of nothing but brainwashed, mindless zombies under extremely heavy surveillance.
That's right, George. And then the strangest thing happened. The writer that doesn't lock his doors injected a theatrical supply emporium into the plot line so that we could continue to use these silly disguises even though Shurelock Holmes has been killed off.
Shazam!
Said Gomer Pyle in wonder. That's nothing, baby. While you guys were busy window shopping, I managed to stumble onto one of Totenkopf's top-secret mind control weapons. Turns out it's a television set that can monitor you and turn you into a mindless zombie. It can also fry your brain and cause your head to explode. He's gonna market the damn things all over the country. He'll turn millions of people into zombies and explode the heads of the ones who resist. We got to stop this guy, or gal, or whatever. Jaime Lipschitz had devised an ingenious plan. 3 prototype units were scheduled for delivery to residential test sites where human testing and experimentation would be conducted under controlled conditions. Jaime simply replaced one of the units with an empty crate. Hidden inside, Jaime had himself delivered to the next scheduled human testing site. It turned out to be the home of Gertrude and Harvey Gliptingle, 2 retired government workers who had agreed to the CIA's offer of a brand-new, fully furnished home in Anytown in exchange for their participation in a program to test and evaluate an experimental television set.
What a deal! What a deal! We get a lovely home. All we have to do is watch TV.
Gertrude and Harvey were as excited as could be when they reported to operations headquarters to be registered, medically examined, and finally to receive a myriad of mysterious injections. Hours later, with a spaced-out, distant look in their eyes, they were driven to their new home where they were dropped off and left to wander aimlessly about the house in a state of semi-consciousness. That was how Vern and Ernest found them when they showed up to deliver the television. Having been reprimanded for asking too many questions, Vern and Ernest found themselves demoted to delivery duty.
Get a load of these two. They don't even know we're here.
Looks like they fell for the old free house routine.
I'd say they should have read the fine print. Know what I mean, Vern?
I'd say you better shut up and help me carry in that TV set. We're in enough of trouble because of you and your big mouth.
With a sigh, Ernest followed Vern out to the truck, and within no time the big crate was positioned in Gertrude and Harvey Gliptinkle's living room.
Now what?
Now nothing. We delivered it, so our job's done. We got 2 more to drop off, so let's get going.
As Gertrude and Harvey continued to wander aimlessly through the rooms of their new retirement home,
Lovely house. What a deal.
Ernest and Vernon Blurgeon drove off to fulfill their official delivery driving obligations. That's when Jaime Lipschitz emerged from the dark confines of the inner shipping crate. Perplexed by the Gliptinkles' complete lack of acknowledgment to his presence, Jaime knew that there was little time before the technicians arrived to set up the unit. He had to get out of there, and he had to do it fast. There was only one problem. Cameras and microphones on all of the streets and nearly every single establishment. A microchip population taps on all forms of communication. It wouldn't take them long to locate him. There was only one thing to do, and Jaime had planned for it. Disguised as a decorative flowering shrubbery, Jaime Lipschitz inched his way out of the house, down the steps, and across the yard. A carload of technicians arrived just as he expected, but they walked right past him without even noticing. Into the house they marched to begin setting up Totenkopf's evil television monstrosity. Meanwhile, the 4-foot-tall flowering plum bush made it the rest of the way across the yard, and then took off running down the street like a bat out of hell.
Yes, you've been listening to Charlie Danger, Private Detective. Tune in next time for the next exciting episode of Charlie Danger, Private Detective.